Hey everyone, it's Alexis. So today I'm starting my little advice part of the channel instead of the intro like last time. So today we're just talking about the basics, starting back in whatever grade honestly you want to start. So I knew what I wanted to be for a really long time. Unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. Everybody figures out at different times. So first I wanted to be a teacher, and then I realized I don't have patience for children. And then around the time I turned 10, I was like, ooh, I want to be an attorney. And I kind of just, that stayed my goal for a really long time after that. So honestly, it's never a bad time to start figuring out what you want to do with your life. Everyone says like you should explore and stuff, but starting to think about it really early, super helpful. My parents always instilled to me at a young age, like, figure out what you want to do, constantly just like making me think about what I want. And so that was like a big thing in my family. So I didn't actually start worrying too much about college until I was a sophomore in high school, because at the time I wanted to go to UT Austin, and I ended up not going there at all. But I wanted to go there, and I knew it was a very difficult place to get into with the very rigorous program, and I wanted to make sure I looked really good for the application process. So I played sports my freshman and sophomore year. I played volleyball and softball, and I just wasn't happy playing anymore. So finally my junior year just completely stopped, and I actually started joining clubs and things like that, because I figured out that it looks really good when you're in a club, but also when you have a leadership position. So that's my first tip. If you can get a leadership position, that's honestly great. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what club. If you can get a position that shows you took initiative to become a leader, that looks really good. So I was class vice president. I was in honor society, student council, business professionals, hang out. Honestly, clubs are great for making friends and hanging out with people who are kind of similar to you. So if you don't want to go home, because I used to come home and it was boring for hours, I ended up joining all these clubs. We'd stay late, we'd start hanging out. It was a lot more fun, and you had more people that you knew. So that's also a plus of clubs. So that's helpful. You can start your freshman. Honestly, it's never too late to start, I don't think. Unless it's after application time in your senior year, then that's a little different. But moving on to my senior year, grades were a big deal for me. Here in Texas, I don't know if it's like this in every state, but we had a dual credit program. So I ended up graduating with 24 college hours. So a few of my classes, mainly my history and my English classes, doubled as college classes, and I got credit for those. So I wasn't super concerned at the time, because I was like, oh, they're just classes, whatever. But these grades transferred over into college, which I do regret now that I got a bunch of B's. I wish I would have gotten A's, because my GPA would have been a little bit higher and what I would have wanted, but it's okay. So next thing is, if you can do programs like that, AP, dual credit, there's another one, but I can't think of it. Those are really helpful. They get you a head start in college. You don't have to take the basic classes. You could start taking what you want to take. They also give you more room for electives, and that's a lot of fun. So that's another tip I have. The only thing that I do regret is not trying harder on my SATs and ACTs. So I originally wanted to go to like Stanford my freshman year of high school, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then it finally came down to SATs. I did not do well. My ACTs, I didn't do that well either. I didn't really study. In high school, I didn't study. I just kind of somehow managed to make A's and just breeze by, and I was in pre-AP classes. So that automatically added like 10 points to your average, because it was a more higher or more rigorous course. So that was one thing that I wish I would have done differently, was study for my ACTs and SATs and actually would have prepped for it the way I did for my LSAT, my law school admissions test. And I definitely think I could have done a lot better. But those are some of the tips I have for at least starting off your college journey, I guess. The next set of tips I have are more so for application. So you have application fees. My school fortunately waived them because we were in a lower socioeconomic area. So we had so many waivers, and so most schools I think cost about $50, which is not bad, but I know if you can't afford that, it's a lot more difficult. So after that, picking schools is a little different, depending how far you want to go, where you want to go, how much you want to pay. In-state tuition will always be cheaper than out-of-state tuition. Bigger schools will always cost more than smaller schools. Private schools will always cost more than public schools. So for me, when I was choosing colleges, I was looking for a place I could get away from home, but also a nice campus where you felt like you wanted to be there. And I had found those two at my first university, but I realized I didn't want to be away from home as much as I thought I did. So I ended up transferring after my first semester back to the college in my hometown. And I lived at home for a year, and then I had met some friends who wanted to move in a new apartment, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So we moved into an apartment. I lived there for a year, and then I graduated, and that was about it. During this time, I did have jobs. So at my first school I went to, I was a part-time like a sales associate at the Barnes & Noble on campus. That was an experience. It's very, very hectic because I didn't make friends really fast. And I definitely will make a video on why I transferred after only a semester, because I think it's really important for people to know what they're coming into when they're going to college. So hopefully that will be my next video, or in the future. So that one, I had a job at the Barnes & Noble, and then when I came back to my hometown, I got a job at a grocery store, H-E-B, and I was a cashier, also a bagger, and I worked there for about a year and a half to 2 years. So those are my little tips so far. I mean, I can't go into super specific detail other than give you a general view of what I think. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has different learning patterns, different goals, different mindsets. I mean, you may not even be wanting to go to school just to get a degree. You may be wanting to go for sports and become a professional, like football, basketball, volleyball, something like that player, like become an Olympian. Like, I don't know, you know, and I'm only trying to just give you little things to help you out in the future. It's not that I don't have all the, well, it actually is. I don't have all the answers, and I will never have all the answers, and things are constantly changing, and I will never be able to keep up with the times, because the seniors nowadays are totally different than the seniors in high school when I was there. I graduated in 2015 and it's already 2019. So I've been out of school for 4 years, and a lot has changed. It really has. And so I know that I may not be the most helpful in the applying to college part, but towards the actual enjoying college, in college experience, I will be more fresh with my information, because that was a little less time ago. Anyways, so I know this was kind of all over the place. I'm really trying to get used to my thought process, how to make my videos better and more informative and not 30 minutes long. So I'll keep working on it, but till then, I will see y'all next time in my next video. Bye guys.